All right, this is Steve Vai, and I'm here with my good friend Joe Satriani, creating this wonderful radio show, Surfing to Shockwave, brought to you by Ibanez Guitars. And we're sitting here talking about Joe's wonderful career and the past, the present, and the future. Then you started taking lessons from Lennie Tristano, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
I took lessons, maybe about 3 months worth of lessons from Lennie. I didn't know who he was at the time. You know, he was the father of cool jazz. He was a bebop pioneer, but he was not on my radar at the time.
Yeah.
But I was complaining to a fellow musician that there was this sort of lack of real creative direction out there in the teaching world. You know, you'd go to a teacher and they'd say, play like me, basically.
Yeah.
And I was looking for more secrets of the music of the world. And he just said, you got to go see this guy, Lennie Tristano. He lives right in Queens, just a 20 minutes drive.
And he was tough, though, right?
He was very tough.
Very tough.
And yeah, you made a mistake, the lesson was over.
Wow.
And
that happened to me once with you.
Really?
Yeah, like my second or third lesson. It was one of the best experiences, probably the most pivotal experience in my musical career. And I've mentioned this before. There's a long story that I won't bore you with now, but I always had this kind of block, like I mentioned, with the ability to memorize things. I never really, and one of my first lessons, you wrote, memorize all the notes on the guitar.
That's all.
And in 1 week. And of course I thought, nah, there's no way. I'm never going to memorize them because I just can't, you know? And I came back to a lesson, and one of the first things Joe says is, okay, play an F sharp on the B string. And I went, and he goes, stop. Lesson over. And you wrote down in the book, and I still have it, if you don't know your notes, you don't know SH dash dash exclamation mark, and sent me home. It was great. And the walk home was one of the most turning points in my life, because I decided I am never, ever going to show up not completely prepared. So it's so funny how little things can have such a profound impact.
It's true.
It's
true.
Yeah.
I suppose in a way, Lennie did that to me, so I got my medicine back. But he taught me great lessons about what it's really all about to be a musician, what it really means to embrace improvisation as a way of musical life. And it sounds easy because people think when you improvise, you're just making stuff up.
Yeah.
But it's deeper than that. It's not repeating stuff that you've learned that you know works with your friends, on stage, which is really hard to give up.
Yeah.
Like if I do this Jimmy Page lick, people not only will think I'm cool, but they'll get a smile on their face and they'll have a good time. So you're telling me I got to get rid of that lick?
Yeah.
And he was like, yes.
Yeah.
Shed everything. Get to the purity of the musical expression that is coming from inside of you. And even just saying that out loud seemed like, I don't know about that. That sounds funky to me,
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
But behind that was, you have to know everything cold.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the next note you're playing, then don't play a note. That was the whole thing. And so, of course, when you go in there and you're a little kid, you blunder. Lesson's over. Don't blunder.
Wow, those are some lofty principles for a 14-year-old to absorb.
Yeah, but I was older by then. I was, 17 or something like that.
Okay.
So,
but when you had first decided to play, before you played, did you have a desire to play the guitar? I mean,
well, I had a desire to make noise.
Okay.
I wanted to be...
You were doing that when you were 6,
I wanted to be the loudest noise in the house, which is why I started out on drums. And because I think when I'd be sitting with my family watching TV and the Rolling Stones or the Beatles would come on, or any of the British invasion bands would get on TV, I'd just look at the drummer and go, look at that. He's got the most amount of stuff around him. He gets to sit down and hit things.
He gets to hit things, yeah.
Everyone's like, whoa, what's that?
Especially if it's Keith Moon.
Yeah. So somehow I tricked them into that. And but that lasted 3 years, and that's when I realized, wow, it's more to it. You have to be so coordinated.
Yeah.
And, 99% of the public can play drums for about 2.5 minutes. And then there's this teeny group of people who can actually really be musical on a drum kit and make everybody feel great. Like there's a groove and control their limbs and split every beat into something that's beautiful. I wasn't one of those guys. It just took about 3.5 years to figure that out. Luckily, the guitar came along and offered the least amount of resistance. I could actually progress. So,
and you don't need a private basement to
That's right.
And you can even be louder than the drums.
Yes, I know. It's revenge.
Oh boy.